Okay, so welcome to our series of live instructional webinars designed to support the Memory Book Online Yearbook program. Our goals today will be to introduce participants to the functions of the program associated with the beginning stages of yearbook creation. Specifically, we will be reviewing logging into the program, familiarization with the welcome screen and page ladder, font selection, creating a private submission photo site, and going over transferring material from a 21 MBO account to your current 22 account, and then kind of leading into the next installment, the Working with Portraits webinar, just the importance of sending us that portrait CD or the link from your photographer. So this webinar is going to take about 20, 30 minutes, and so we're just going to go on from there. So the first thing where we're going to get you to, I am just here on our company page, which is memorybook.com. From here, there's a link kind of in the upper left, and that's to our Memory Book Online login. So if we're going to click on this, it'll take you right to the login page. You can also get here just by going to memoryebooks.com. It'll bring you here, and so this will be the information that was provided to you from your sales rep. So they will either email this out to you, or I think it used to come in a kit. But if you don't have it, definitely get a hold of your rep, and they can email that out to you. So when logging in, you'll want to go with a 22 if this is a brand new account you're going in with. So we're going to enter the job number that was provided, the username that was sent out to you. Now, your account starts with two separate logins. So there's an advisor login and there's a staff login. So the username of advisor, this is going to be your all access username. So any advisor role login on the account has full access to all the different areas and that, whereas a staff login is limited to where, so one good example between the two is staff and advisor can lock pages. They can both do that. Now, advisor can unlock pages where staff cannot unlock them. So it's different level of access like that. Also, kind of when it comes to photos, advisor can delete photos where staff cannot delete them. So we'll just put in, if you're the advisor, I'm just going to go ahead with that. And make sure when we're getting this in, we'll put it with an ER there. And the password provided by that. Also down here below, there is a forgot your password link. Now this is set up already kind of with the advisors. This would be coming to your email address. If by chance you forgot, and the reset would come to your email. And now when we get to showing you staff accounts, you can actually have an email address on them, and staff would be able to use this as well. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go log in. All right, so once we are just in, we're going to be here on our home page and just kind of go over what you see just when you're getting in. We have a countdown module here, and that's just going to show you how many days and that you have left. This is just mine, just on my demo. I set it way to pass to next year. And there. Total pages module. This is going to help you keep track of progress. Just when you're getting in, it's going to show you, what you don't have started, what you do have in progress, completed, or any pages that you have submitted. And just kind of stepping over, there's an upcoming events module here. So it'll kind of tell you, if you click on it, it'll kind of tell you what you have here. So I'm going to go back, but just at a glance, you can kind of see, okay, by November 15th, and this is actually kind of a real date for everybody, getting your cover choice or artwork in. So if you need to still talk about getting cover in or what you're going to do for a cover, make sure to give your sales rep a call, and they'll help you get going on that. This December 15th date, I just kind of made this one up, but I just kind of put it in for portrait CD. This will probably be one that you see in there for a lot of your accounts. Whereas the cover date is a hard date, like I mean, you need to have that in by that date. The portrait CD date is kind of rather loose. And that's just because you're never quite certain when or who was scheduled, or when your fall photos were scheduled. Maybe you had retakes coming at a later time and you want to send both of those sets of photos in together. Really, as far as getting a book created, I know you'll want them a lot sooner, but as long as you have your class photos uploaded to the program about a month before your book is due, that should still give you enough time. But if you get these to where the next month or 2 months, or just whenever you get them, send those in. And then date here for book submission. Next module over is tagged images. This is gonna, when you upload images to the program, if it has a little facial detection, if it catches anything, it'll ask you if you want to put a name or tag a name to the photo. So this right here, just kind of your uploaded images, kind of keeps track of how many you have kind of in the program at one time. And then the images module just kind of give you a breakdown on who's done what, how many images are in the library there. So this is just your home page. This is just going to give you some at a glance, quick information right when you get in. From here, what we're going to do is, now once you're in the account, let's say if you have a staff, or let's say you have yearbook class that you want to get set up and you want to make logins for them. So if you want to make logins or need to make additional logins for those helping, we're going to go under plan and we're going to go to staff. And here in the staff area, you'll see that you'll have your main advisor login here, and it kind of defaults in. It says first, last. You can go in and edit this and add in your first or last name, but you will not be able to change the username here. You can also update your password. You cannot change your role. So that way this login stays top tier all the time there. So you always have advisor access to get in. And you also start with one default one. Now outside of that, to get started making any logins that you have here, just go up, click add staff. And we're then gonna, add in a first name. So let's just I'll just put myself in here. So this username can be anything that, maybe they have a nickname, or some conventions we'll just see a lot of people do is the, first initial last name, or any kind of combination of that, or maybe I could have been Lucas H or something. Your password will need to be at least 8 characters. And this here, just make something generic. I'm just going to go yearbook 22. So when setting up your staff logins, every username is going to be unique. You can also make the passwords unique as well if you want. A lot of times, a lot of advisors will keep the password the same for everybody. So I mean, everyone's going to have an individual username, but they're all going to have like some kind of standard password, like yearbook 22 or that. Now the email spot here, this is what is used for that forgot password link. Now this is a just an optional thing. What we suggest is, not a lot of students sometimes don't have email addresses, so we'll have the advisor put in their email address here. That way that forgot password request comes to the advisor and they can help them out. And I'm going to choose staff as this, and I'm going to hit save. So now we got another staff login here. Okay, now I do see one good question right here in the chat that I can work in. So the question is it okay for students to share a generic login as opposed to setting up 22 logins, for example. So yeah, you can do that. It is okay. They would be able to all share that login. The problem with that, and it's something if you're willing to kind of run into, is you won't know who's doing what, so you won't be able to kind of keep track and progress of that. Also, they just can't work on the same page or two-page spread at the same time, whereas that would create save errors. So yes, you are able to keep them all on the same login. You just wouldn't be able to do, you'd run into kind of some save errors possible if they're working on the same page. But then you also wouldn't be able to keep track, who needs help, or if something happened where someone removed something off of someone's page, you wouldn't be able to kind of stop that. But it is doable. That you can do. So after we have our staff, and you can make as many staff as you need, you can also make other advisor logins. So let's say that it's maybe you don't have a yearbook class, maybe you are two volunteers from the PTA and you both need like the same level of access to work on it. So I mean, you'd still have the staff login that you could use, but might as well, if you're both going to be working on the same stuff and needing that same access, set yourself up another advisor account, and that way, both of you would be able to have the same privileges and be able to get the same work done. Now, after you have these set up, one good thing about the logins or the staff logins you set up, you can then assign those to pages on the page ladder. And that's actually where we're heading now. So I'm going to go under Plan. I'm going to go Page Ladder. Okay. So this is a page ladder. It's just a breakdown of your pages, so you can kind of see them at an at-glance kind of view here. Just a breakdown. This is also where you can come to access your pages. So if you click on a page here, and I'll do it here real quick. If I click on a page here in the page ladder, that'll also take me to that page in the designer where I can jump in and start working on it. But just kind of explain the area a little bit here. Around the pages here, we have some status colors that go along with this. So any page that's outlined in red is not started. Anything in yellow is in progress. Let's see, nope, there's something going on with that page. I don't have any pages ready to complete, but those would be outlined in light green. And then any page that was submitted would be outlined in black there. So at the very top, when you first get into an account, let's see here. I'm going to reload this area. There we go. Okay, so at the very top, when you first get in, now as long as your job number stays the same year to year, you're automatically going to be linked back to your previous account. Now, if your job number does change, give us a call here at tech support. We can actually go in and kind of manually link you back to your previous account, your previous 21 account there. So that way we can get this little area showing here. But what this is how you're going to transfer content from the previous year. So looking at this, you have a couple options. You have load last year's descriptions and sections. What this is the little information here next to the pages in the page ladder, the section description spots. If you had this filled in your previous page ladder, when you click this, it's going to load over that information and populate your current page ladder here. Now, anything that carries over is not anything set in stone. So once it does come over, so here I can go ahead and load last year's section descriptions. Okay, so it brought over, I had principals page, I had teacher of the year, I had staff page here. Now, if I wanted to, maybe this year I wanted this to be the principals page. And maybe I wanted this one to be just another teacher of the year, But anything that's brought over from last year is not anything set in stone. So even if you bring over last year's section description information, you can still change it up to the current, what you need to do currently for this year, what your plan is this year. The good thing about it is it's just a starting step. Hopefully which will hopefully kind of alleviate some work that you actually have to put in. Then there is load last year's page designs. Now this is going to bring over last year's layouts, but they're going to bring them over in template form. So here, I'll go ahead and click this. I'm going to load. Now this will only work on pages that are not started. So if there is anything in progress, it won't bring over and replace what's already there. So it'll just, anything that's in progress will be skipped. So ideally, when you're first getting into this, it won't be like a used demo account like mine, where I have already been kind of practicing and doing other webinars on pages. When you'll get into your account or first getting into your account, all of your pages should be, not started. So when you do hit the load last year's page designs, it should fill everything in pretty clean. But really helpful, loading last year's page design. So it's a good starting step. It's either, if you're the returning advisor, it's just going to help you get a head start for this year's book. If you're a brand new advisor taking over, it's a really good starting place. It's that way it kind of relieves some of that tension of having to build something brand new from scratch. That way, if you get, load over layouts, you have, a place to start. You don't have to bring in templates. Now, any of the stuff that you bring over, any of this is still, you can still move this around. You can drop different templates in. Like I said, none of what you bring over from the previous year is set in stone. It's just a good starting place for you, to where you can either build upon or get ahead of the year. Let's see. Now going through, back to our logins. So next to each spot, next to each page, you're going to see two spots. You're going to see staff and staff. Now, if you click in this area here, you'll then have a drop down, and you're going to then assign your pages to those students. Now, if you're working on a big class or that, ideally, you only want to have one student for the spread. If you do have, one student on the left, one other student on the right, what you'll need to do is have both students set their page views to single page. That way, if they're still left as a spread, there leaves it room for save errors, because whoever saves first, their progress saves, while the other one has to move and save as a template. Now, after you start assigning pages, make sure to come up here to the upper left and click that Save All, that purple Save All button, and that'll lock that information in. To where you then, if you need to come back, you can always come back in here and, maybe I want to change the student who's assigned to a page. And so if you change anything or edit, just make sure you go up and hit Save All, and it'll save that in there. Now, also over here on the page ladder, there is a series of filters. So by all staff, this is going to help you navigate by who's working on what, so you can sort by your staff. The page types, well, a lot of times everyone's book is set up in color. All page statuses. This is, I want to see just my not started pages, or maybe I want to see just what's in progress. So I'll do that. And then lock statuses. So this will, anything locked or unlocked here. Now, some things that we have had happen at times, we'd have calls or emails coming in to where, help, I'm not seeing particular pages are not showing on my page ladder. If you ever notice that, if you ever notice that you do not have any pages or certain pages showing, or come and take a look at your filters on the page ladder. If one of them is ideally, for everything to show, they're all going to say all, all staff, all page types, all page statuses, all lock. If one of them is off, that may be what may be causing certain pages not to show. So just if you do happen to notice it, just come check your filters, and then if you need to change anything, change it all back to all, and then hopefully that'll get things going for you again. Some other things that you can do here in the page ladder is next to each page, you'll see a little button here. And what this will do is if you click on this, it's going to generate just a low resolution proof of your page. So as you're working, it's a good way to, you could do a quick proof, do a quick printout, or you can download this digitally and email it to anyone that's helping you review. Or let's say the principal is like, hey, I'd like to take a look at the teacher message page, or that, and then that way you could send that to them digitally by email, and or print this out and get that to the principal or whoever's reviewing there. Also, now that each one, these will just do single pages. So for later down the process, there's some other things you can do. If I go up to this print drop down up here, a couple different options. There is print all. Now what this will do, the print all will generate a PDF proof of the current status of the book. So I mean, it'll do a full book PDF proof. So it'll catch even the photo boxes and just kind of what it's like at the time. Then there is the print ladder. This will, if I click print ladder, it'll generate a little thing here to where it'll give me a breakdown. I can print out my ladder. Maybe I can use this to scribble, you can print this out, scribble your own notes on it, kind of help with the layout, or maybe help you keep track just on paper form there. But you can print the page ladder, so I can help you with planning. Then whatever you write here, you can then bring back in and type that into the stuff on this spot. So that's what those two options are going to be for. Let's see. So going through here. So from here, after we get some staff set up, we've got our pages kind of set up. One of the next things that we can talk about, if we go back under plan, is we can go to fonts. Now you start off with two default fonts, and that's the AYT Foundation Roman, AYT Foundation Sans. So when we first get into the fonts area, it is showing the whole library of fonts that we have. But I'm going to show this here by kind of some types. So we have script fonts, and these are anything here. If I kind of click on it, it'll preview off to the side, but these are like script fonts and cursive fonts and handwriting. And then we got our body fonts. There's serif body and sans serif body. So serif body would be any of the fonts that have the little tails and kind of endings around the letters, kind of like your Times Roman, New Times Roman, stuff like that. And sans serif is more or less no tails. It's just the straight edges in that. So it's minus the serifs. So this would be like your Arials, your Helveticas, your plain type this way. Ornamental will be stuff like kind of like the dingbats, symbols in that. And we have decorative fonts. So this will be, good for like your candid page headlines or different events. Or I thought there was a Halloween font, but we're kind of beyond some of that right now. But that's still an event that probably is still going in a lot of people's books. But so there's your different categories and that you have here. So just going through, if you find a font that you like, so if you click on one, you like it, like, yes, I want to use this in the book, just slide over and click the toggle to make it active. Now, one thing, when you're activating fonts, when you click it down here, it may make it look like you didn't activate it. Well, what happens is the second that you click and toggle this on, it actually, the font that you toggle on actually shoots all the way up to the top of the page. So, so just wanted to point that out. When you are adding fonts, that's what happens. A lot of times you'll sit there and it really will make it look like you didn't activate it. It does it that quick. But yeah, just when in doubt, scroll up to the top of your font list, and then you'll see what you did turn on. Now, when using fonts, what number of fonts? We normally suggest not going over more than 20 fonts to use in your book, and that's just to kind of help with consistency. But that 20 is just a recommendation. Usually the less fonts that you use, the more consistent and it looks throughout the book. But at the same time, this is your all's creation. So it's just a recommendation. So if you want to use 40 fonts, different fonts or that, go ahead. Now, as far as when and when not to use certain fonts, it kind of deals with one good example of on what not to use. And if I can go back to some of the script fonts, watch thin fonts on like thin script fonts on really busy backgrounds. They kind of blend in, they're hard to see, and what you may have to do is extra steps on the text box, like give the text box a fill just to make it work. But when in doubt, I would use script fonts and that on more plain backgrounds or ones that are not very busy there. But here is fonts. There are just a ton here. So as you're going through them, give them a quick preview. If you see something you like, just make sure to hit that toggle there, put it in your collection. So last thing we'll fully go over here is ReplayIt. Now what ReplayIt is, this is private photo submission. So what is it? Well, the ReplayIt site is basically, you come into your setup here, you activate this, you'll put it in a start date and usually you'll want to put it in the same day that you set it up. An end date, this we generally say, I'd probably put this about a week before your book is due, or maybe just a few days before the book's due. Just to ensure that you're able to get as many photos or all those photos you need to produce the book. And then you're going to enable your site, and then once you save your setup, you then get a direct link to your site, and you also get a user ID. And there's also a flyer that you can download. So this site that you are setting up is tied to the image library. It's tied here to the Memory Book Online program. So it's basically, it's a one-way street between the two. So anyone that doesn't have access to the yearbook or the school community, teachers, parents, students, you could give them this link in that, or the access to the site. If they want to contribute, they can contribute images to the yearbook program. And all of those images that they submit on this site will actually come into, if I go under create, into the image library. They all fall into this spot here, the inbox ReplayIt. Now this inbox ReplayIt folder is only seen by advisors. So all images uploaded through your site will go into this folder. So once they are uploaded in here, you might want to open up your activity categories, and then you'll sort them by dragging and dropping them into your activity categories that are there. But definitely encourage setting up your ReplayIt site. Getting this link is very useful if you put it into a school email blast. It is good for putting it on your school website. I think like I said email blast already, but some kind of school flyer. If you even wanted to do the ReplayIt flyer and send that out. The one spot I wouldn't suggest putting this link is posting it on a Facebook page. And that's just because the Facebook system alters this link somehow to where it then makes it unusable, to where users can't get in. But anywhere else outside of Facebook works like a charm. So, but yeah, definitely, once you have this set up, get this out there. The more people you have contributing images, the more you have to work with and can put in your yearbook, and just the more memories that you can put out there for that school year. So that's it on ReplayIt and image share and kind of getting started. For really getting going and getting you set up for next week, really we're going to be in the next week's installment, we're going to talk about working with portraits. So in building up to that, we really kind of encourage sending in your photo CDs, or if you get a link from your photographer, like if your photographer emails you a link to your class photos, forward that link on to your sales rep and let them know how you'd like those sorted by grade level, which is everybody in the same grades in the folder, or there's sort by teacher homeroom, and that's more broken down by individual class there. CDs, if you have those, there is a padded envelope that is kind of already addressed, ready to come back to. I think you just have to put postage on it. But toss that in that envelope. There's a form on the other side, same, letting us know how you want those sorted. So once we get your link or CD, we then will take about 3 to 5 business days to get it processed and uploaded. So why is it beneficial, you might ask, sending that in? Well, there is, and a lot of times photographers include an index file. With that index file, we upload by it, and it pulls the images and the names tagged to those images, pulls that into the program all at one time, just a matter of minutes, and already ready to go, and also very kind of gets you ready to kind of preview and check. Well, there isn't this tool on the customer end. So on the customer end, you would be facing uploading all the images and then going through and typing all the names. And we really don't want to put you through that. So if you do have that CD, you do have your class photo, if you did get a link from your photographer, send that this way. We'll get it uploaded. Another thing asked, one time I was asked about when sending it in, why, I have a small Christian school or something. It was a small private school or Christian school that only had like 50 to 75 people. And they're like, well, do I have to send that in? And on something where it's really small like that, no, you don't have to. And they had been used to uploading the photos and tagging the names. Where in a situation like that is fine. A lot of times that work could be done in a couple hours and done that day, and be done even before, that link or the photo CD got to us for us to work on. Where this is really beneficial is those big schools, the big middle schools, the big elementaries, where there might be 300 to 600 sixth graders. And no, we really don't want you typing in all the names for those. That's just, that'd be very tedious. So when you can, or if you can, send in that class photo or link, and we will work to get those uploaded for you. So I have gone through all what we were going to go through on today, and I'm going to open this up to anybody if you have any questions over what we've covered today. But yeah, if you have any last moment questions, if you want to put those in the chat, or I think I'm trying to unmute, but it's okay. So if you do have any questions, let me know. Okay. Well, I'm not getting anything coming in. So okay, so I think we might just go ahead and call this good. Do very much appreciate everyone that has stayed on for this. Just a reminder, we are recording this, so if you ever need to get back to it for any kind of review or just kind of touch base on anything we discuss, you'll have a link to that recording coming to you here soon. But anyway, thank you very much for joining me today. And hopefully by showing examples in the areas of the login screen, welcome page, page ladder, fonts, ReplayIt, creating your book will look like less of a challenge, and you can avoid some of the pitfalls that accompany any computer software. So transferring material from last year's site and sending us your portrait CD should pay off in some time savings for you. So feel free to join us in a couple of weeks as we begin preparing portraits for the autoflow function and then build some class pages. So see you then. Have a great afternoon, everybody.